Hey everyone, this is Tracy with Color Me This. Today is episode 244. It is our last day of the week of the Daily Color, and as promised, we have Romantic Country, the first tale. Our gardening shelf page is waiting to be started, and I am going to start it today by coloring the flowers in the pots. This is going to be a leaf green, and I am not going to do that one today. So today we are using the Brutfuner squares, which in the beginning of my budget pencil coloring journey, this was the first budget set of pencils that I purchased. They are still in my favorites, though, as I said, they used to be the favorite, and as I have collected more sets over time, they now share that spot with a few others. I was doing a little bit of mocking up. I actually took the brick mock-up that I shared with you, and I made 3 copies of it so that I can try some different things. But I am pretty confident that no matter what I end up doing with some of the other elements, I simply want beautiful, colorful flowers in their natural color that in my mind they would be. So I have pulled some colors. The one of the 2 flaws, I would say, with the Brutfuners, the squares specifically, is that the barrels are a very poor color match. So I just grabbed the first color combo. It is going to be for these little tiny flowers. And as you can see, it looks like a red, a brown, or a rust color, and a brown. So it's color number 10. The second flaw with these is that the numbers are quite small. So I have redone the numbers. I have a video way back that showed how I did that. I used a Dremel tool, or a Dremel as my husband likes to call it. It is one of our favorite tools, and we have 10, 103, and 54. And rather than try to tell you what these 3 colors are, I will simply start coloring. I'm going to start with the darkest one. I am going into the center areas of these flowers. They are a 5-petal flower, sort of oblong, with the largest petal being the top petal. As you can see, this is some sort of a deep berry color. It is actually kind of fun to have these pencils that are somewhat a wild card, and you don't have names, so, and I'm not going to get to know them by numbers. I don't think I have committed any of the unique-ish colors to their number assignment. So it's just a whole different thing to not learn a pencil by its name or the barrel. So these pencils are just a very balanced feeling pencil. The Artisto, yesterday I had said in the 5 sets that I had used this week, that as of that time, yesterday, the Artistos were a favorite. They are very similar in feeling to these. It's that hybrid, somewhat silky. I would not call these buttery either. They have more on the silky side. Silky, smooth. The lay down on this smooth paper is very soft, very pleasant, and it fills in the tooth really easy. Now what I do know about these is that their payout in the pigment department, I would not call these the most pigmented. They are pretty vibrant. You can work them up. You can get a nice finish, but it does not come for free. And I don't know the Artistos well enough because they're pretty new. So I don't know if they're going to end up in my I love it equal to the Brutfuners, because one of the things that make the Brutfuners hold that spot is their color palette. In a 72 set, as much as I might like how they feel, I already told you that it has some gaps. The greens they don't go dark enough or light enough, and there's so many different possible tones that they couldn't cover all of the tones, possible color combos, because it's only 72. So Brutfuner definitely has the edge. So I have put what was dark brown ends up being kind of a mulberry color. What was rusty colored ends up being like a dark red, but still on the berry side. And then this is number 10. And it does a decent job of matching its barrel. I am very excited to actually get started on the big. It has been hanging around my desk area for weeks, of course, as I slowly put together everything that was going to be done. So now, at least with it hanging out at my desk, it has a fully fleshed out plan. Not fully fleshed out mock-up. As I said, the only thing I have done is decided that we're going to do different colored flowers, and that will help us sort of unfold the rest of the page. I sometimes, although I didn't really with this one, sometimes I will look at a page for inspiration. Sometimes I will take inspiration from an object, maybe a multicolored pattern, something like that. But often I will just start coloring. I have done a lot with colors over the years, and so like I even have the virtual, like the PDFs of the Sarah Renee Clark Color Companion, as it is called, 1 and 2. All right, so those cute little somewhat pansy-like flowers are done, and I don't really refer to it very often. And I don't struggle too much. I definitely just kind of, I see a color and I go with it and pretty much make it work. There's not a lot of science behind or logic. I just kind of like to play with color. And I feel comfortable with color, I guess. And it is not always a success, the colors that I pick out. I'm moving on to blue, by the way. I have started with the darkest color. Let's share with you what these colors are. We have 38, a light blue, the lightest blue in the set, a middle blue, 84, and a dark blue, 87. I know that there is a version of these now, although I've seen some supply chain issues or something because they have not always been available on Amazon. And I've owned 2 sets for a very long time. They both are set up to be used for different purposes. So it's not like the other set is sitting in a case in a closet waiting for me to run out of, say, a particular color and go pull one. They are actually both already set up. The other set has the matching equivalent Prismacolor numbers on them. I was using them for doing tutorials where Prismacolors were used. And my first 3 sets of pencils were the pencils that I bought, budget ones. I bought these, the Macarons, and Amazon Basics. And they were my Prismacolor knockoffs. So that worked for a time, but I am exploring everything with coloring in my life, and so I then liked the whole colored pencil thing and decided I would continue on, and ended up buying more those because the Brutfuner project was a specific project. So soon after I realized how much I liked these and that I already had them labeled, and a couple of the colors were getting pretty short, so I decided, oh, I better buy myself a second set. And they sat in the case for a long time, but when I started the coloring group, I converted these to a case. I don't have inserts. I will say that I use this little sheet that I've cut down to fit that is one of the color swatch charts. I don't even know which person's it is. It's a very specific one, and when I don't know, over a year later needed to find it again, it was very difficult to find. So now I have it downloaded, and I still do not know whose it is. I have been on the middle color here for a while. So it acts as my index. And I have never swatched these on my coloring page paper that I print coloring images with. I've used these before. I used the Nina Bristol Vellum. I just used Nina Cover Copy Solar White. I have that in 2 weights. I use it for card making, and these work really well on that. In fact, the turtles, which I have floating around that I worked on before my channel, I think I'd already started it, and so that was done on the smooth. So these work really well on smooth paper, just like this paper. So I've noticed that sometimes I'm inclined to have some white. So far for this, I have not. With these red flowers, notice there's no white. I'm thinking I'm going to go with more coverage, less white, and do gel pen and acrylic marker white. That is my plan. I want this to be very colorful and vibrant, knowing that the Brutfuners are a lovely, vibrant pencil. These do feel very, very much like the Flower Box set. So similar. I don't know that I would even say that I like one over the other. At this point, I would have to think up some tests and do some head-to-head tests And then you have the colors then are a factor because I have so many more options with the flower boxes. And yes, the flower boxes immediately after their first use joined the ranks of being one of the sets of pencils that I love, alongside the Brutfuner macarons and these. So that is the what am I trying to say? Those two sets of pencils have been the standard measure for me for every subsequent set of budget pencils that I have bought. So that is a really tough, tall order to be able to be as good as those two sets. I am just adding in some little detail here in the center. Notice I did leave a little white. Moving on to the next one here. I want to share with you that this is a, like a Caribbean blue type color. And I decided to skip it and go with the more cobalt blue. And I can still add in, if as I'm going through, I will leave this Caribbean blue color, which is number 37. I'm going to leave it in as a choice that I had made in case I want to brighten those up a little bit. I'm now going to move to the first flower that I decided a game plan for. Again, we have some barrel color matching issues, which is pretty typical. We've got $16, $110, and $85. I do have the translations downloaded that somebody did on, there was a Facebook group, and this was a very early translation provided. I believe it was, I can't remember. I can't remember the person. They have a channel and a group, and they had a person in the group who did the translating for the names. So here is what appears to be, a violet purple, pretty dark. But you are going to see that it is actually not all that dark. And I'm just going to do a light center. And then I have to do some work with the shapes. These are a 5-petal flower. I am not going to do them as a fluffy flower, but it kind of looks like I might, but that's not my plan. So the darkest color is 85, and it looks to be a purple, bluish purple. And I am going to draw in some 5 petals for each flower as best I can. I am also going to be, with these 2 spaces, I am going to add the feeling of flowers still behind these flowers. This one I didn't start with because I knew it's going to be one that takes the longest, I think, because I'm going to be building up these flower shapes and some shadows. And I knew it would take some time, so I thought I would do a little warm up with those 2 easy ones. And I am not worried about how long this is going to take. I don't have any other parts ready to go yet, so when I finish the flowers, we're done for the day and the week, actually, because the next thing that will be filmed is the weekly color. I have been making some progress on my storage and organization works in process. So I get to share where those are at. My time to be working hard on all this is going to be coming to a close because my mom is arriving in a couple weeks. And I know that things are going to get really hectic. So hopefully you can see where I got the idea for the flower shape here on this one. I'm going to not be in a rush to do this page as many days as it takes, and I'm only going to work on it once or twice a week. I just knew that as time goes on, I will be getting a little bit burnt out of the small victories, and I want to avoid that because I want to get all the way through to the end of the book without feeling burnt out. So it's all about the balance. And I know that when I work on storage and organization projects, they actually take, it's not like I just video. They take a lot of time in the background. Where I might color with you for 45 minutes, you know, the whole process of getting the video process loaded up, all that, I would say I do that 3 hours a day, 2 to 3 hours. Some days can be quicker, some days not so quick. And then, so you can see the reason why I created the little center areas was to help me figure out how these 5 petals are going to be lined up in relation to the center. So the storage and organization projects can take days and weeks. So my goal is to get what I've got in the hopper currently as finished as possible for when my mom comes. So I'll still do my daily, but I won't hopefully have a whole bunch of storage and organization type projects waiting to be done. I'd like to have the current round of projects finished. And right now I'm working on 2 storage and organization projects, Holbein's and the Prismacolor. Alright, so hopefully these flowers are starting to look more like a 5-petal flower that I was after. So the Prismacolor Conversion Master I'm working on. And you know what? So I did get, as everybody knows, I have a set of 150 Prismacolor. I've never organized them. They were put in a case with another set. And they were in the order that they came in the box, which starts with a green. So I had to figure out a good sort order. So I pulled from Emily Illustrator, and that is because she actually leaves the raw data available on Google Docs for you, so you don't just have a PDF. You can just go out, you can open the Google Doc that holds the data and download it and then paste it. And I already have my template built. So I'm back to the middle color. I have done all of the shapes and the shadows. So I really like that. And Emily Illustrator's website has a ton of downloads, lots and lots. a great resource, and I appreciate the time that she put into creating all of these. I am now taking this burgundy color and doing more individual petal lines, more shadow lines, just a different color. So once I finish the Holbein project that has morphed into a bigger project as these things go, and I will be making a video of that maybe next week. I need to get it finished before my mom comes. And then I'll have to buckle down on the dailies for a while as my main video subject matter. I'm hoping that these all vary a little bit, as real flowers would. Trying to not be completely matchy-matchy. Now, the lightest color actually does look okay with the barrel comparison. It's actually lighter than its barrel. A lot of these budget pencils from China make a barrel that's like hot pink, and it'll be the softest pink ever. This is one of those. So that's in the shadow. I left a little bit of white in each of the little shadow areas so that I can have the color of the flowers peeking through, because that gives the idea that there are some flowers back there. I can even do a couple of shapes once I finish this, the frontmost flowers. I will go do that. Leaving a little bit of white. I still think I might color all that white in, but I'm leaving that option. Though pencils are easy to erase, they do tend to stain the paper somewhat, so you'll never get that pristine white again. Alright, so those are those cute flowers. And I did say that I wanted to come in and maybe do some hints of flower shapes, and then I'm doing a little more shadowing. And I think those are so cute. Now we're going to move to the yellow daffodils. I actually really like the square shape. I am very used to it, being that these were the first budget pencils that I owned. Number 2, number 3, and number 4. Very conveniently. So the centers of these are orange. The centers here, where the petals connect, are orange. If you don't have the Brutfuners, My Colorful Country Life has the Brutfuner squares as part of her 12 pencil set conversion chart that is huge. And most of the big hitters are on there now, with a couple of the professional pencils as well. And the lightest color is the light yellow. These are available on Temu. I think I've already mentioned that the pencil prices on Temu without their coupons that they used to have, they no longer have. And I do not find that their pencil pricing is the best. I still feel Amazon has the edge with their different coupons and discounts that you can find. Temu just does not, they're not willing to be as competitive directly, and then they no longer have the little you spend so many dollars and then you get a little coupon for so many dollars off your next order. And so I used to build my order as 2 orders to get my discount that I wanted. And that is no more. But I also don't spend time, I don't buy a lot. I've never bought a ton from Temu, but I do use it here and there. For the US, they now have local warehouses. I don't know how that exactly works. Maybe they have US partners, and they're kind of like a marketplace, like an Amazon. Really, almost all places, even Home Depot and Lowe's, have a marketplace. Everybody's getting into the marketplace action. So there's the daffodils. And we're down to one last set of flowers. Again, I'm not going to do any of the greens today. We're just doing the floral colors. All right, so my last set are going to be purple. All right, so let me check these because the barrels, these 2 barrels are similar. So we have 99 and 63. Okay, so 63 is the lightest. It is like a grayish lavender. 99 is a lavender, a middle lavender, and 19 is a grape, even though it actually looks like navy blue. So I am going to begin working on the shadow areas with the navy blue, going somewhat with that fluffy look. These are very much fluffy. And this will all make more sense when we get more colors working. So I'm going lighter and lighter, and at this point I am at I just want to get a little bit of this darker color up into the rest of the flower. The middle tone, 99. And now we're doing fluffy little ovally squiggles. And I'm hoping by doing these squiggles that I will get some squiggles that I decide are going to be very light and very dark. To give these a somewhat 3D look. So that's the middle color. I have the lightest color. I'll show you what it looks like. Uh-oh, and someone's at the door. Okay. All right, I am back. So the funny thing is, inevitably, whenever somebody knocks on the door, it's either our neighbor, right next door to us, or it's somebody looking for my husband, because he's kind of like the, I guess, what is it called? When I used to work, I worked in IT. It was a SME, S-M-E, subject matter expert. And my husband is a subject matter expert with everything to do with, you know, housing and plumbing and electrical and, yeah. So and he's always, every afternoon he takes a nap about now. And so when I open the door, he says, "Oh, Scott's napping, isn't he?" Yep, he finished. He says, "I saw him working on the trail all morning, back and forth and back and forth." And his daughter moved here. Most people, once they move here, their closest family members tend to move here because it's really that cool of a place. It's very cool. I hear Hubs up. He probably heard me talking. So we are just about done. So his daughter's air conditioning is acting up. And then he says, it's the original air conditioning from when the house was built. Oh, so that could be it. Now keep in mind, people here, many people are seasonal. And so your house may or may not have had all of the systems used year-round, a few months of the year. Maybe the people didn't come here every year. You just don't know. So even though to me, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's a long time. And then our air conditioning unit, that's like the main thing in Florida. You do not ever want to have die. You do not want to have your air conditioning stop working on you in the middle of summer. Although today is not a bad day. Today is in the 80s. It's very pleasant out there, in fact. So I'm just finishing up some fluff. Pretty much had finished up. What I do is I do my very casual circles, and then I look for opportunities to pop in some shadow lines and then have the white so that the flowers look most as natural as I can possibly make them. So there we have it. We have 5 flowers done. These actually ended up looking hydrangea-like. That is not how I colored them on my mock-up, just so you know. Sometimes things just take a life of their own. And I'm even, because we have this tone is a dark sepia color, that the ink that was used to print the pages, I may want to come in with some more sepia, but I'm going to hold off on any of that level of detail until I have more areas colored before I decide. I actually have the middle purple. I see the tops of these two. kind of on the light side. So before I head out for the day, I'm going to, so the other thing too is, you know, it being the weekend and all, to have them come out is, you know, an extra charge. So I told him I would get my husband up in another 20 minutes and that, and he'd take a look at things. Alrighty. So do all the YouTube things. Thank you so much for joining me today. Like, share, comment, and consider subscribing. And we will meet back here tomorrow to do the review. Actually, we will meet back at my other desk where we will sit up and look at my projects and what I colored for the week and check out what my channel has been doing for stats for the week. I hope to see you all there.